I want to now bring in former NASA Administrator Charles Bolden. He's a former NASA astronaut who flew on 4 space shuttle missions. So you've been listening to my conversation with Mark. What stands out to you?
I have been listening to your conversation with Mark, and I loved all of it. It didn't make me feel any more at ease. I'm a nervous wreck. You know, I don't watch well.
Okay. What's behind that? You're worried for your colleagues?
No, you're just, I'm not worried. It's just you're nervous about all the, as Mark was saying, all the different little things, you know, that can interrupt the launch, and you just hope none of them occur. So far, it's been just a phenomenal countdown. You know, I remember listening to Charlie Blackwell Thompson the other day when she said when they did their final polling, they had one anomaly that they were working on the vehicle. That's unheard of, you know, that far out. So the vibe is good, and so I'm just hoping it stays there. But I'm just you know, even when I go to talk to school kids, my stomach is churning.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because you know so much more of what goes into everything and every painstaking detail that they are quadruple checking. And I'm just a layperson watching, and I'm seeing them play cards, and I'm, you know, focusing on how they're going to go to the bathroom. And so it really is fascinating and such a privilege to get to talk to you as such an expert. Now, I want to talk to you about some of the particulars of the mission. And we talked to Mark about the launch, the first few hours, first 24 hours orbiting the Earth, and then getting that green light to go to the moon. Talk to us first about getting to see the far side and why that is so unique. We know they will be seeing things that no humans have seen before because it will be daylight when they are the sun will be shining on the far side of the moon. What will they be looking for? And can you tell us the significance of that?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. No human being has ever seen what they're going to see when they go around to the far side of the moon and have an opportunity to look at that. We've only had, to my knowledge, one spacecraft that's landed there, and it was a Chinese spacecraft that landed on the far side of the moon. So it's a very unexplored portion. And it's just because the moon revolves on its axis at the same rate that it goes around Earth. So we always see the same side. So, you know, kids are excited about seeing what they call the dark side of the moon. It's not dark, it's just the far side. It's the side we never see.
And then this, I call it a slingshot exercise. I don't know, that's obviously not the technical term, and please correct me, but then the return home, they won't even have to do any kind of firing of a rocket or a booster, right? Because they are going to use the moon's gravitation, and maybe it's some of the Earth's gravitational pull as well to get home.
Linda, you got it. I mean, slingshot is the exact word to use. And, you know, as they leave Earth's gravity, they'll get close enough to the moon that the moon's gravity exceeds that of Earth. And so it'll start pulling the spacecraft toward the moon. And it goes faster and faster. And as it goes around the backside of the moon, it gets slingshot out the other side. And, you know, that's the way we brought Apollo 13 home. It's called a free range trajectory coming back home, so you don't have to use your engines to provide propulsion the way that you would if it were not for the gravity of the moon that slings them out the backside.
Okay, so as we continue to watch the preparations and then loading these astronauts into the Orion capsule, can you help us explain? It's obviously not like a seatbelt that they can simply detach themselves from. So what are some of the preps that are being done? We know that they obviously can't move. So this is going to seem like a very trivial thing, but if they had to like watch their water intake for these last few hours.
You're wearing a diaper, okay? Believe it or not. And you're very unusual if you don't use your diaper, because you're not sitting down, you're laying on your back for, what time is it now? They're gonna be laying on their backs for the next almost 4 hours. And that takes practice. You know, nobody wants to pee on themselves. And so you have to, I actually remember laying up in my bed at home with a diaper on, making sure that I knew how to do that thing so that I wouldn't damage my bladder or something. But the other kinds of things they're going to be looking at, you know, you were asking, what do they do? You know, it's a 9-day mission. Physical conditioning is really important. So they actually have, I understand, a small piece of exercise apparatus in the cabin with them. It's not a big cabin, but it's large enough for them to get out of their seats, and somebody goes back one at a time, gets on the exercise gear and does a workout. So they're evaluating the exercise equipment. Is that going to be good enough, or do we need to go to something that's more like a rowing machine or a bicycle ergometer? So they're going to be evaluating that. We did not have a life support system on Orion when we flew it, however many years ago, when it went on its first mission around the moon. So this will be the first time that we're able to actually evaluate whether the life support system is going to work correctly. You were absolutely right to ask the question about the toilet. You're too young, but those of us who were around for shuttle will remember we went quite a few shuttle flights before we got the toilet to work right. It's a challenge, because you're trying to overcome the absence of gravity. You're trying to create your own gravity with a small fan in the bottom that acts like a vacuum cleaner and draws the solid matter and the urine away from you and puts them in little tanks so that you can keep them and bring them back. So they have a lot of human nature kind of things that they need to evaluate, and it'll take time.
I mean, not all heroes wear capes. The fact that all these astronauts before had to do that trial and error and figure out what doesn't work and the consequences of that.
I didn't say everybody does, but I did. I wanted, I was, like I said, I'm a nervous ninny, so I wanted to make sure that I wouldn't mess anything up. Having had my own kids and watch what happens when the diaper spills over, I did not want that to happen.
Okay, Charles Bolden, if you can, stick around for us because we are going to take a short break. Our NASA coverage continues right after this. Stay with us. You're watching CBS News 24/7.